All right, Mr. Larsen, nice to meet you.
Oh, nice to meet you.
All right, so we're here today with Dana Larsen. We had a fantastic showing on the lawns of the BC Legislature, making waves in sensible BC. And we're just going to ask him how things went and what do you think about the laws. So what brought you down to the legislature today, other than the obvious?
Well, it's the first opening of the legislative session for this year, and so the Lieutenant Governor and the Premier and all the MLAs and media was here. We wanted to show that there's still strong support for marijuana reform in BC, that it's not just a federal issue, and the BC government has a large role to play in how these laws are enforced and what our priorities are. And we expect our elected representatives in BC to stand up for what the majority of people in this province want. Sensible marijuana laws, decriminalization, and moving towards legalization.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a great day to fly the flag with all the pomp and circumstance going on and cannons exploding. You know, it was a good day to be here. Last year, the chiefs of police across the country voted in favor of moving to a possible fine and ticket system instead of the usual criminal charges being laid for marijuana possession. How would you feel about the country moving to that?
Well, I got to correct you on that, actually, because it wasn't instead of those charges. It's in addition to. Okay. They still want police to have the option of charging you for possession if they want, or instead giving you a fine for a few $100s. That's not the model that I endorse, and I'll tell you why. It's because right now, police don't typically charge everyone they find with marijuana possession. Not out of the goodness of their hearts, because they simply don't have the resources to charge everybody. If they charged every person for possession, it'd be too much. So across Canada, you've got like a 1 in 4, 1 in 5 chance of being charged right now if you get caught, depending where you are. But if they could give you a ticket, then they would give those 4 out of 5 people tickets for big fines, and then the 5th one would still get charged. It would not reduce the number of charges, it would increase the number of penalties for marijuana possession. Then the police could go, look, it's actually making us money now. We're profiting when we write these tickets. We're making cash. This is a good system. Maybe good for the police to make work, not good for regular people who want to consume marijuana or who don't want to see their police resources being wasted on this issue. So rather than seeking alternate forms of punishment, I would rather eliminate punishments for marijuana users and for possession and create a legalized system where you can buy it in a store. You know, we didn't move from alcohol prohibition to fining people for alcohol possession. We didn't move from not allowing gay marriage to fining people who got gay married. You know, we don't need to have a fine in there. We don't need to find alternate punishments. We need to eliminate punishments for people who aren't committing any other crimes than just possessing or using cannabis.
Exactly. It just adds a positive effect for the government on prohibition. They can now milk the prohibition system for money. In a much easier way. And
it makes it look like it's being progressive, because most people, even a lot of the media, reported it as being tickets instead of charges. And if that was actually the case, maybe it'd be better. It's still debatable, but tickets in addition to charges doesn't help anybody except for the police to harass and punish more marijuana users. That's not what we want in this country.
Not at all. So would you like to see us move to a system where marijuana is regulated and controlled in the same way as alcohol and tobacco?
In a similar way, let's say. Not exactly the same, but that basic model. I like the wine model specifically because you can brew wine in your own home. You can share it with your friends. If you want to sell it, you've got to be licensed and follow some rules for safety. That's a good idea. Also, the wine industry has room for small brewers and niche producers and room for big companies. I think the tobacco model scares people because they don't want to see marijuana being monopolized or sort of ruined, maybe the way tobacco's been ruined. But the wine industry, I think, is a very valid comparison. I think marijuana is a lot more like wine than it's like tobacco, in that there's many different kinds of marijuana. There's no one best variety. It's about having a selection.
Have personal control over it as well. If they're going to be a grower, you know, they want to grow the different strains, just like you would make a different variety of wine.
Absolutely, there's all different kinds. So you could have niche producers that just produce a little bit of their special strain, and big companies that mass produce different kinds of cannabis. That's the kind of legalization market I want to see. I think the wine model is the way to go.
Definitely, yeah. Obvious question: did you sign the Sensible BC petition last fall?
Oh, absolutely. I think I was the first person to sign it, or one of the very first, and it was a wonderful campaign. You know, 200,000 signatures that would have qualified us for a referendum pretty much anywhere else in the world. It's a very challenging process in BC, but although we didn't get what we needed, 200,000 is a lot, and we also built a network of volunteers and activists and community leaders that were much stronger now coming out of this campaign.
That's right, over 4,000 canvassers, right?
Yeah, we had 4,500 canvassers by the end, and just a lot of people getting involved and volunteering in the campaign. And the general feeling from all those people is, let's keep going. What can we do next? We had a great turnout here. People are excited, whether it's canvassing or being active in other ways. There's a real groundswell. And I like to think that Sensible BC kind of tapped into that and built on that. And now we've got a really solid base of people. We've got a huge mailing list, big email list. We were able to call 7,000 people in Victoria to let them know about this event. So that kind of reach allows us to get a lot of people out and to have a big impact.
Excellent. So now with all the support and the ball rolling and everything, people would like to know, when is Sensible BC going to hit the grounds again with another initiative petition?
Well, I get asked that question a lot, and it's a challenging thing to figure out. We need to raise a lot of money, and we need to make sure that our volunteers aren't fatigued from just running this marathon a few months ago to starting again. Also, we have a federal election coming up in spring or fall of next year. And so we talked about doing a campaign in spring, summer of next year. But the thing is, with the federal election coming a few months later, that really kind of trumps our efforts in BC. So, we're still thinking about it, but right now I'm thinking that we're gonna be active, we're gonna be campaigning, we're gonna be canvassing, but an actual former signature gathering campaign, that might wait until after the federal election. And if Harper is still in power at the end of 2015, let's work hard and keep our fingers crossed that he's not. But if he is, then we would have no choice but to do another referendum campaign here. But I think our goal in the immediate future is to keep the pressure on the people that work here, to get our supporters to call and email and make appointments with their MLAs, to make the pressure on, to be at a lot of summer events and festivals. I'm going to tour the province with other people to promote our message. We'll do a convention in the fall and in September of this year, and then build up towards defeating the Conservatives in 2015 and making sure that marijuana is an important issue. We know the Conservatives are going to push on it. We know Trudeau's been talking about it. We want to make sure that those who support legalization of marijuana get elected, and those who are against it are kicked out. And that's going to be our main focus, I think, for the next year and a half.
Awesome. So it's becoming less of a focus on the actual initiative petition and more of just a constant campaigning, a constant presence, just constant push towards change.
But we definitely want the BC government to pass a Sensible Policing Act. That has not changed. We can decriminalize in British Columbia. We can stop arrests for marijuana possession. That's the first step we should be doing as a province. And so we're going to be keeping the pressure on all those levels, building awareness, keeping the pressure on, being politically engaged, and possibly doing another referendum campaign when the timing is right.
Awesome. Well, you heard it from the top, folks. Stay engaged, stay involved, keep up the fight. Thanks very much, Dana.
My pleasure. Thank you.